they connect and bloom, oh, bloom. Showing if they connect and bloom.
Hello, this is the Bloom Show, and I am Sahid, your host of New Bloom Solutions. Happy Valentine's Day. It's almost over, so we're almost getting there, and wishing everybody best of luck during Valentine's Day. And as we get closer and closer, don't forget that we do this for a reason, and it does create happiness within the industry. So super excited to be here today, and thank you for joining, and thank you to our guest, Santiago Gómez de la Torre, the president of Airglades. Now, if you're a florist, wholesaler, supermarket, distributor, grower, logistics within the floral industry and logistics, you do want to tune in. And why? Because Airglades is something really interesting. It's been happening for a few years, and now it's something that there's more information developing as we go, and it's truly an innovation in floral and perishable good freight and cold freight, where they're building something awesome. And it's time to see, what it's about. So this show is really to answer questions. So please feel free to chime in, ask any questions you might have. Now's the time, right? So I tend to want to do this show sometimes. All the shows, I think we're at over 100 episodes. By the way, we just hit 10,000 subscribers. So super excited about that. And thank you for subscribing. So one of the reasons I do this is because our industry, we like, in some cases, in many industries, there's a lot of assumptions, right? So why not come to a show where you could ask questions so that no longer are they assumptions. Now they're facts or non-facts, right? So again, I encourage the audience to ask questions, chime in, give a shout out to your friends, but especially ask questions. And before the show, I do want to just talk about something real quick. And it is the Bloom Together event. New venue, very excited about the new venue. Cooper Blues Rock Pub and Kitchen in City Place, Doral. It's 7 p.m. March 3rd, and you could use this QR code to register as an attendee. Please do sign up. Allows us to know how many people are there, and we do have a max capacity. This event is for the floral community, by the floral community. It is a part of Bloom Together initiative, and it is to show our support for networking, collaboration, and building community within the industry. So many sponsors come together, and then those sponsors support this event, and every proceed, all proceeds go to be donated to Seed Your Future and American Flower Endowment. So it is an important event. Great if you're new to the industry. Great if you're looking to network. And please make sure to pass by and say hi to me. I'd love to see you there, and know that you came, because it is a lot of people. And then we have our calendar. That's another part of the industry. Actually, Airglades is one of the sponsors as well. It's another part of creating a place that all the calendars and all the events and conventions are all in one place. And it's a digital calendar that lets you add it to your calendar so that you don't miss out on any opportunities. We truly believe not only the Bloom Show, Innovate, Connect, and Bloom, love that song, by the way, but we truly believe that if we could make one connection, one form of education, someone learns something new to improve their business, we've done what our mission is in the flower industry, and that is to innovate, connect, and bloom, and help the floral industry bloom. So without further ado, allow me to invite Santiago Gómez de la Torre onto the show. I'm very excited to have him and can't wait to hear more about the Airglades. So give me a second. He'll be right on.
The bloom, showing if they connect and bloom. The bloom, showing if they connect and bloom.
Hey, how are you, Santiago? Everything good?
Hey, Sahid, how are you?
Good. If anybody likes the song, which we just did it now, give us a thumbs up, because I'm super excited about that for some reason, Santiago.
I do.
Thank you, man. Thank you. But I love the song. It's catchy. My team's been singing it. So it's been a lot of fun, and this is what it's all about. It's fun and keeping it authentic. So, Santiago, thank you for joining the show, man. I know we've talked a lot about Airglades and about the show, about really creating a place where we could answer some questions and really give updates of where Airglades is, because there's a lot of, is it this, that? Here are the facts today. Right. And that's what I'm really excited about, for us to tune in and talk about the facts. So thank you for joining.
Thank you, Sahid, for inviting and putting this together. I'm really excited to be here. being this one of the most important shows in the floral industry ever.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. And truly words like that, people that email us and see us at the shows and say, hey man, great show. We're watching it. That's why we keep on doing it. So we really appreciate you. So Santi, let's dive into the questions. Hopefully it'll be like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I know it was a 5-minute intro, so sorry if I bore everybody. But it's important to kind of cover a couple things. But let's dive in. So can you tell us a bit about yourself? And what is your professional background, and how did it lead you to where you are today? The reason why I ask is because you have a really impressive background within the logistics world. So I'd love for you to share what you've already done for the industry, which they might have not known, and what projects you worked in the past, and that's why there's so much positive energy when it comes to Airglades at the moment.
Thank you, Sahid. Yeah, I have a path in my life that has driven me to be where I am today. Um, One professional and one personal. From the personal aspect of it, my grandfather, back in 1968, came back from Europe with the great idea of growing carnations in Ecuador for the first time, and joined two or three people that wanted to do something like that, and they put some roses together, and they created the first flower farms in Ecuador, which took a little bit of a decade to grow up and establish as an industry itself. It was just some hobby at the beginning, but it took a few years to build it up. Then they were doing it very well, and I have seen all the growing of the industry for all those years, with the struggles that it has had in the past, until I joined the other industry professionally, which is the aviation industry. I joined in 2003 the aviation industry
Okay.
with the idea of Quito developing a new airport, a brand new airport that was not done for 40 years in the world. So this was the only greenfield airport ever built in about a long time. So we start planning that. First, of course, the passengers, which drives most of the revenue for passengers. But then there was a gap for the flower industry, and the designers didn't took that into account at the beginning. So we have to adapt the model to adapt to the third most important cargo airport in Latin America, which is the Quito airport. So we did develop it a little bit late, but in 2008-9, we developed a concept of a logistics center, and we implement that. In 2013, I became the CEO of that logistics center that was owned by an American company, a fund, a private equity fund, and I ran that for almost 10 years, integrating logistics with airports, which was never done until then. Airport was one thing, logistics was a different thing. But
Yeah.
because we had this unique situation there, we started integrating some of the components of the logistics into the airport in the aviation sector, and that we developed that concept. We also developed the first automated airport in the region. I'm talking about from Miami to Argentina, and we did some tests on automation there. So that's more or less my background: airport, logistics, aviation, and the flower industry per family, not per profession, but per family.
For a family, which is a passion in itself. So,
Yes.
congratulations. Now, for those who might not be familiar, what is Airglades International Airport and what makes it unique?
Okay, Airglades International Airport is a first private airport that will receive commercial flights in the U.S. First, number one. Number two, a first only cargo airport that will run as a cargo facility, and first time also a logistics center integrated into the airport. By
Hmm.
that I mean all the distribution aspect of the vertical integrated chain, which some companies do have, uh, integrated into the aviation, so you avoid several transportation times. When the cargo arrives, it goes to the bonded warehouse. From the bonded warehouse, it goes to a distribution center, and then to a transportation company, and then ship it by truck to all the US. So you avoid all of that, putting everything together under one roof. And that is what makes it unique, and the actual fact is that there's no other airport that can do that because of the space. Airglades today has the same size as Miami International Airport, but avoiding all the passenger facilities and infrastructure. So only for cargo.
And a good question, or I hope it's a good question, but something that I thought it was very interesting to know that it's not only going to be flowers, right? So
No.
many people might say, oh, it's only flowers. Well, good luck, right? But it's going to be perishables, right? So it's going to be, you're already, maybe you could share what other industries are interested, what other industries are signed up. Please share a little bit about that, because I think it's very important to say that, because it is backing it up as well. So it's not all up to the flower industry. It is open to other industries as well.
I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this question. It's a very important question, Sahid. Thank you for that. The flower industry, there's a before 2020 and after 2020. Okay,
Makes sense.
The aviation industry before 2020 was composed by three main industries: flowers, number one; salmon and fresh fish, number two; and asparagus, fruits and vegetables, number three. Being asparagus, probably 90% of it. That's before 2020. After 2020, the asparagus industry transformed itself into a sea freight cargo. So some people say, oh, Miami doesn't have any congestion problems anymore. Yes, that's true, because the asparagus went sea freight completely. 90% of it now is sea freight. So it left the whole Florida market industry into two goods coming from Latin America to the US: flowers and fresh fish, being salmon the most important one. And then going down to South America in the Caribbean, the dry cargo composed by pharmaceutical products, spare parts for cars and machinery, technology, and all the other categories. By that, I can tell you stories about anything from a giraffe to a heart from a bank of organs. I managed in 10 years. I was able to manage most of the things that can be shipped worldwide. So it is very interesting. But the first four are driving 80% of it. So for dry cargo. So that is the industry. It is an industry that is growing around 8% per year. So that means that in 5 years, we are already in the same place that we were on 2020, meaning we lost all the asparagus as an industry, but now the volumes have completely compensated. So we are in the same volumes that we were in 2020 without one of the most important products that was asparagus.
Wow. Because we're a growing world.
Yep.
That's just what it is.
It is the industry. Both salmon and flowers are growing in volumes every day. Of course, not everything is perfect, and the volumes are not growing in margins and profit margins especially, but volumes are growing and growing and growing every year as we speak.
And so I know we have a little video. So can you tell us a little bit about your video and what should viewers expect to see and how to capture it? So let's play it real quick, and you can tell me where to pause if you need me to pause. I know there's no volume to it, but it kind of shows the project. So it's pretty interesting to watch. So
yeah, I'll make the noise for the video, explaining a little bit. This is the result of a lot of research.
Okay.
From one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in Europe that handles probably 30 or 40% of the market in Europe, especially in Spain. That company is specialized in that, and mixing that with the aviation industry and the expertise of several people involved in the process. So I'm going to be describing what are you seeing is Airglades. On the right, you're seeing the fresh fish. On the left, you're seeing the flowers. And in the center, you are seeing the dry cargo or small companies that are going to be operating there. So the idea in the front part and the upper part, it's all of what I called the airport warehouses. all the airport processes happen there in that facility, including the clearance, inspections, whatever. And then on the T's, on the vertical columns there, the 3 vertical columns, is what happens on a distribution center.
Okay.
The only difference is that you do it under one roof and with an automation system and belt that transport either boxes or pallets or jet pallets through the facility elsewhere, 180 degrees.
I do want to mention, just in case, it's all refrigerated, right? A cold chain, 100%.
Yes, except for specific warehouses on the center of the T,
Okay.
the vertical center, that will put dry cargo or any specific product that require a different temperature.
Okay.
What we are seeing here is the export, not the import. That's the process that any export will go, and then we're going to watch it as a 3D model, same that you were seeing on the blueprints, but now it's a 3D model. So jet pallets are coming out. On the peak season, you can have in 1 hour you can have 400 jet pallets.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's 4 747s coming at the same time,
Okay.
which happens on the peak season. So within 1 hour, you receive 400 jet pallets that will stay there unless you have a place to put them, will stay in the sand. So we created this, we call it the buffer. We put it in this buffer so the process can continue doing the flow. We're doing the breakdown. We're doing the inspections, trying to put some technology for the inspection authorities if they agree, and if they want this process to be like that, they can use technology, very advanced technology, to identify any sort of risks that they foresee. Then you go to the distribution part of it, and that is a sorting system that will facilitate companies to do a purchase order sorting that will facilitate the dispatch. So the process is lined out to be a 6 to 8 hours from the moment the plane lands to the cargo being ready by purchase order. Wow. Be ready to be shipped. That is a 24 to 48 hours difference in the current process, and 5 different transportation logistics in the same process. So okay. It is a difference. It is 180 degrees difference from what is the current process today. Not because anybody is doing it bad, but because the facilities today cannot hold all these different aspects of the industry. So you don't have anything related to distribution in any airport in the region, not in Quito, not in Bogota, not in Miami, not in Chile, not in any other part of Latin America. Distribution is a thing that is done outside the airport in a 98% of the cases. Yeah. So that's the main difference, Sahid. And that involves
how much more efficient is it? How faster is it? Do you know? Do you have that calculations?
Let's say you're a mid-size importer in the U.S. I'm not talking about the big ones. For the big ones, it's great, but for the mid-size or small ones, it's much better because they have to transport the flowers 5 times. Worst case scenario, 5 times. If not, at least 3 times. Okay. So every time you move the cargo, you're talking about 6 cents per kilo. That's a lot of money. If you're doing it 5 times, it's a lot of money that is wasted because nobody on the industry is receiving any value just because of this. Then you're avoiding sun exposure. You're avoiding breaking the cold chain. The sun exposure in today's world can take 1 day of shelf life to the products. And that is not something I say. It's been studied since 2005. There's have been 3 studies that backs this information. For 1 hour of sun at midday in Miami, you can lose 1 day of shelf life. So if you avoid all of that, and you are avoiding 2-3 hours, and then you're avoiding the breakdown of the cold chain, which really affects the whole system, and then you're saving money. Not talking about the environmental aspect of it, which is also very good. Let's leave that for the finish. You're making it a lot more efficient.
Fantastic. And then, what is your role in Airglades? So, I know you're the president, but what does that mean right now?
That means running the vision,
Okay.
doing the consolidating this pool of experts,
Okay.
from European experts to Latin American experts to US experts that have consolidating to one place and stay hours and hours of almost 2 years of study to develop this concept that is what you saw in the video. It was 2 years of really hard working development with almost 15 experts sitting on the table designing this facility. I was the leader of it because I was the only one that knows both industries. When you have an aviation expert, they don't know about distribution. And when you have a distribution expert, they don't have any idea what the aviation industry looks like. So trying to put them together and trying to consolidate that. And then, of course, salmon is different, flour is different, dry cargo is different. So again, bringing everybody together on the table and trying to have a consensus to put something together that will benefit anybody of any size. If you are one of the 4 big companies in the US, the biggest importers in the US, you will benefit from it. But if you are a small importer, you will benefit from it.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. And then, what is Airglades working on right now? Where are we? What stage are we? Where are you? What are you working on right now?
We finished. We started on I don't remember. It was June. We started a process with Goldman Sachs to find a developer.
Okay.
This kind of project is a between $500 and $600 million project. It requires a company with expertise in this type of infrastructure projects. So the shareholders decide to select a developer / partner that was going to take it from where it was to the next step. So if you are, I'm going to use an example that our CEO uses a lot, is we got to Mount Everest, we got to base camp.
Okay.
Now in base camp, a developer has to take it to the summit.
Got it.
So the idea is to bring this company with expertise in infrastructure projects, with knowledge, preferably in aviation or distribution, that will take it. So the selection was done, and now the companies are working together to match the next phase and see the best options. Do a lot of due diligence as well. The market is a live market, changing environment. We have news in Miami, good news for the industry, but have some impact on the project as well. The salmon, the sparrow. So doing a due diligence and be sure that when we land it to the next phase, it's going to be a very fast next phase. When we land it, it's going to be fast. It's going to be construction. It's going to be developing, and it's going to be serving the industries the best possible way.
Fantastic. And it's exciting because it's been some time coming, and now we're as close as we've ever been, correct?
It has, from the planning of let's go to the Everest to creating a base camp trip that took me 2 years to develop, and then now giving it to the developer to make it real and go to the summit. It's quite an experience, but I don't see that any waste on time or anything. For a project like this, you really have to think about things. You are changing a logistics of one of the most important states in the US in terms of gate to Latin America. So you have to take it seriously, and seriously takes time.
Yeah, makes sense. Seriously takes time, yeah. So why is Airglades such an, you've covered it, but I want to give you an opportunity to nail it. Is why is Airglades such an important project for the cargo and logistics industry, especially in perishable sectors? And what are the benefits working with Airglades for businesses or stakeholders?
There's a big push for cost savings in the industry. I'm sure you're aware of it.
Of course.
It didn't start today. It started 3 or 4 years ago after the 2020. There's a big push to lower costs. everywhere and in all the different phases of the industry. So if you don't do that, you will jeopardize the whole industry. It is an industry that is struggling with costs. You're not talking about 1 or 2 pennies. You're talking about half a penny that can make a difference.
Yeah. And if you
In
add that
today's,
on top of each other, it's a lot of
yeah,
money.
in today's system, the companies have done everything possible to do that. There's always ways to improve that, but I don't think there's room for a big change right now. The current infrastructure, how it is and how has been for 60 years, I think it's a moment of a disruption solution that can really make a change. Airlines is doing that, and it's trying to achieve savings for the industry, creating a whole new process.
Yeah. And it's time for innovation, right? So, and that's something after COVID, we were all more open to innovation than we ever have been. And we hope to continue that energy of being more curious than judgmental and saying, how can this help us? How can we work with this? So it's really interesting, and that's what excites us. And
Yeah,
connecting.
remember, Sahid, this is so funny. You mentioned that. The distribution industry, it's way beyond automation and innovation, and they have worked a lot. You have the Amazons of the world creating these huge warehouses, fully automated, and you have the aviation industry using talk tracks from 1965 that now are electric. Oh wow, that's an innovation. Same track, electric.
Yeah.
That's not a disruption. It is time for a change. It is time for putting bridges to take the jet pilots from the plane to the facility in 2 minutes instead of 45 minutes. So the industry has to change. We own it.
Wow. Really, really cool. And yeah. So what kind of partnerships is Airglades looking for, and how can interested parties get involved? And I think that's very important, right? Because the information today is different than the information 6 years ago. So I think it's very important to sit down with you, to see your plans, to learn more about it, and understand how the industry, perishable good industry, and the floral industry can get involved. So can you share a little bit of how do they get involved? What kind of partnerships are you looking for? What kind of companies can get involved, et cetera?
I'm going to try to be very quick on this, but this is the main benefit of being in Airglades. So first of all, I'm going to describe the actors on the chain industry, on the logistics industry. You have airlines that will benefit from a cost-effective agreements that will make it better. That's why the airlines that had sign off with us are interested because of the cost savings. Then you have the importers, the freight forwarding companies that will benefit from lower costs and better logistics. But then in the vision of the project for the next 100 years, that's the difference, because we don't have a concession, so we can go up to 100 years vision. You integrate different actors. You integrate logistic transportation companies that will benefit from being in one place, taking the cargo from the same facility that the plane landed. And then you talk about the retail and the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So the buyers can be there as well, consolidating their distribution center there. So in the long run, this will be a great thing for the industry. Trying to put the flour from the aircraft to the buyer warehouse. If we do that, Sahid, will be a change and a benefit for the whole world.
I mean, why for the whole world, if I may ask?
Because you have several countries exporting to the US, not one, not two. Yeah. And those countries will be benefit from this cost savings, and will allow a new, let's talk about any Caribbean papaya product or any fruit that today has struggled because of the space, because of the minimum volumes that they have to do. Suddenly they have a space in an airport that will do the logistics for them and will put the product right in the buyer warehouse, despite of the volume, if it's one pallet or if it's a plane.
It'll be in the warehouse of the buyer, so they're able to manage it and not cut the cold chain. Fantastic. Yeah.
In today's world, you can't do that.
And less fingerprints as well, right? A lot less fingerprints, so that's more affordable, as you said.
And we don't affect, we don't affect the freight forwarders, we don't affect the flower growers, we don't affect the importers, we don't affect the buyers, we don't affect the airlines. We benefit all of them.
Fantastic. So this is a question that I know is important to you. How does Airglades contribute to environmental sustainability or innovation in the industry? We know, but to environmental sustainability, what are the benefits and what is Airglades doing for that?
I am a fan of the environmental sustainability, not for social media. You gotta bring value. You can do a lot of things in social media, but you can really make a difference, make a change. So when you're talking about the environment, you're talking about the poorest county in Florida, bringing jobs. That's one part of it.
Yeah.
Developing a workforce that is eager. A difference in Miami, the workforce in the zone of Airglades is eager to find a job in logistics industry because now they are in the agriculture. So it's a better position to be in the logistics. It's an easier part. So that's one aspect of it, the social part of it. And then the environment, we're bringing high technology and mixed with solar panels and innovative energy. We're studying hydrogen to be one of the options. Solar, definitely. Hydrogen, the desired one. And then this is one of the biggest carbon foot producers is how many times when you are moving in traffic, a truck from Miami International to a bonded warehouse in Doral, from that bonded warehouse to another distribution center, and you are moving in the traffic of Doral at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., the footprint, the carbon footprint of that truck diesel is huge. When you eliminate all of that, like that, you do like that and it disappears, all of them.
Yeah.
The calculation of that is enormous. It's enormous. So
Exactly.
any company can put the plan of eliminating this carbon footprint and can integrate it into their plans just because they are there.
Interesting. Very interesting. So I have from the world famous Willie Armelini, I have a question from the Armelini family, right? So it comes from a very reputable person within the logistics world. And if you haven't read his book, read his book. Just to the audience, read his book because it'll teach you a lot about the logistics industry within the flower industry and the history of the flower industry, which is super cool. So a little shout out to Willie's book of where do flowers come from. So the question is, what are importers saying? What's the vibe that you're getting from importers? If you can't share who's supporting, I understand. But what is the vibe? What's the energy? Because again, it's been something that's been there and then now it's coming and good energy. So you have, the two sides, right? So what are the importers saying? Willie, the man Armelini's asking.
No, William, thank you. And I have a lot of respect for the Armelini family. They have been in the industry a long time, so they do know what they're talking about. So great question. We have different opinions on the importers. One of them is, I don't want to say negative. It's just they don't see it. They don't see a benefit because of how they currently operate today. And probably they are the late adopters that will really need to see it work and see their competitors benefiting costs. And then they will be very welcome with our facilities. We have importers that are on the center line, I will do it, I will not do it, let me see, tell me more. And then you're working, and then there's the one that are the early adopters that, of course, have a lot of benefits with us, and they are fully committed, making their future plans, contemplating Airglades as the growing facility and making 20-year plans, strategic plans for 20 years. So we have the three different opinions. and we welcome the three. All of them have contributed to build where we are today.
And something I have to say, Willie, is that Santiago's always been very open. So we've had many conversations for the past year, Santiago, and you're always giving the information and always sharing. So anybody that wants to reach out to Santiago to learn more and not get a sales pitch, to get the reality of where it's heading, I know you're very open to that. You even gave us your email. I'm just trying to find it now. So do feel free to reach out, email him, reach out to ask any questions, and to have give them a couple minutes of your time. They are supporting the Bloom Together event, so they will be at the Bloom Together event, which is a new venue. Again, I'm saying that because it's been in the same venue for 3 years. So, but reach out and make an appointment, or sit down to have a drink. And I think that's where some of the best conversations come from. So, Willie, thank you for asking that question. And then now, I guess the question is, what is there one thing you want people to remember about Airglades after listening to this interview, and what would it be?
I would like them to remember not only about the Airglades, but I would love if they can remember this. Seeing the history of the flower industry in Florida, and seeing the history of the growing sector of the aviation industry in Miami, you can see the future. And the passengers are growing. Miami International doesn't have more space. They have done a great job over the years. Yeah. They have done a great job. Miami has been the key for the flower industry.
And they've also improved throughout the years, right? So they have improved as well.
Yeah, but there's a moment in time when the landlocked, there's no more space to grow. The competition between building a condo and building a warehouse in Doral, it's going to be impacted. It's going to be very expensive for the next years. And try not to see Airglades as today, but try to picture the industry in 15 years from now, 15, and see the difficulty of exporting flowers through Miami International. The solution is called Airglades, or it's called whatever you want, but there's something to be done in the industry. We need to do it. As an industry, we need to do a change to facilitate the sustainability of the industry itself. So Airglades is one option. It's there for everybody. We welcome everybody. The biggest importer in the US or the smaller flower grower in Central America. You're both welcome here. Fantastic. We have a solution for you, and we hope that this can be your solution for the next 200 years.
So I have another question from Willie. It's a fair question, so I'll make sure to ask it. I'm a bit late to this party. I guess you're a bit late to the show. Thanks, Willie, but thanks for making it to the show. What is the tipping point? It has always been a build, and they will come. So I guess I'm not sure what you're asking, Willie, there, but do you get the question? What is the tipping point, I guess, to make it happen? What is the tipping point to get people on board? What is that tipping point that you need to say, I guess, hey, we've got this. This is awesome. We're running full throttle. I hope I'm doing justice to your question, Willie.
It is a great question, and I know where he lands is, the story of the egg or the chicken.
Yeah.
What is the first thing? When we started marketing this project, I started marketing this project in February 2023, and that was the problem: the egg or the chicken, the airlines or the importers, the runway or the flights, and I was struggling with that for 6 months. I decided to break the egg and kill the chicken.
Okay.
And work together. The solution is, hey, let's work together.
Yeah.
Commercially, legally, financially, we sit down with our current partners. We sit down and we define, instead of the egg or the chicken, let's define steps that we need to take and milestones that have to be done. The moment we did that, we advanced and we made a lot of contracts with a lot of companies that had signed off on the project. Just because there's no more this after the chicken,
Got it. So what is the next egg or the next egg you're going to crack to make this happen? I guess that's the question.
We are in a moment where our developer has to do some due diligence and some research. In that process, I hope it takes not a long time. It's everything is there, the information is there, but they have to do their own studies, confirm the things that we have been putting together, the documents, the studies, the analysis, and everything, and that's the next step.
Fantastic. Willie, any other questions? Bring a question, Willie. Bring a question.
No, very good questions. Thank
Willie,
you.
Willie's doing awesome with the questions, so I appreciate that, Willie. And he did say correct to what the way that I was asking the question. So thank you, Willie, for chiming in and asking some questions. It really is appreciated, especially from yourself. And then, where can people learn more? And that's really you do have a website. You do have a newsletter as well. If you want to sign up to the newsletter, I guess they could send you an email. So make sure, please, to reach out. And
we are always welcome. We're always visiting clients. Not despite the size of the client. We don't care if you export 40,000 tons a year. You import 40,000 tons a year, or you are 1 ton a year. For us, it's a client. When you're doing an airport, you cannot always count on a million passengers. You have to go passenger by passenger, selling the idea that the new airport will be the best. The boxes are the same for me as passengers. Every box is 1 passenger, and we need to reach 220 million passengers, and we will do.
There you go. And then Willie, thank you. This is pretty cool. Willie says, by the way, I support the idea. So
Thank you very much.
Someone that's been in the industry for a while does see the benefit, and he's looking 15 years out, and I think that that's important, is to look 15 years out, because everything has a capacity. And if you don't innovate, you don't grow, you don't adjust, you don't roll with the punches, you're going to get smacked in the face. So, it's always worth to be more curious than judgmental. And so now we have another question here. It's within the family. What's up, Mr. David? What about southbound freight? Will you be consolidating at Airglades? Great question, guys. You should have done the show. David, next time you're on the show, buddy, you and Willie.
Thank you, David. Great to see you. Great to connect with you. As I said, I have a lot of respect for the whole Armelini family, and especially for you, David. This is a great question. Has been there for a while. We did discover a lot during 2023 and 2024. There is no one company like you do in the flower industry, where you have 2, 3, 4 companies having a lot of the volumes. Let's say 70% of the volumes are within 4 companies. In the southbound, it's a very fragmented market. The biggest exporter, I'm not going to use names, but there's 2 companies that represent each one 2%, and they are the biggest southbound exporters of the US. Can you imagine? 2% each. With 4%, the rest are very, very small exports, because southbound is much more sea freight than air freight. So what we did is we contacted the freight forwarding companies, the consolidators, and of course, we did also approach to all of these companies in Brazil, in Colombia, in Chile, in Argentina, in Ecuador, and we approach these companies and we offer them our services. So if you are going to export from Chicago, from Texas, and your airport is in Florida, so we offer warehouse space for them to consolidate. Instead of a 2-hour or a 24-hour consolidation process that happens today, because of the space you cannot offer more, we offer a 15 days consolidation process. So I don't know if you understand what I mean, but this is great, because you are bringing product from any part of the world in a connecting flight. You're bringing product from any part of the US, and once you have everything ready, you put your airway bill and you ship it, not before. And you don't have to do it in 48 hours. You can do it in 15 days. So it will facilitate the industry. And we have a lot of traction from companies. We are already, let's say, in written commitments, we are almost 40 million kilos per year, which is a lot.
And how does it affect the flower industry? So, what's the benefit for the flower industry in that sense? So, how can you translate that to that?
The challenge, Bogota and Quito face the same challenge: how to fill out the planes going down to avoid the flower growers paying the full fee. So the more cargo we have going down, the most beneficial is for the flower industry guys.
Fantastic, fantastic.
It is still a 3-to-1, even in the best case scenario, for 3 flights that comes to the US.
Mhm.
Only one goes full flight down South America.
David, I hope that answered your question. If anything, please have a backup question. That would be great because I appreciate those questions. And then I do want to give a shout out to Freddie Jahir. He's a young kid, an entrepreneur. He's following the show. He set up a call with me the other day. He's an innovator, has some cool ideas. So he might be reaching out to you just to learn about the industry. Reach out to me, and we do that here in the flower industry to give our time as New Bloom Solutions to new people to the industry. So welcome to the flower industry, Freddie. And he has some cool ideas about virtual reality and augmented reality for the flower industry. So just giving him a shout out and thank you for watching. So, sir, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate everybody that was watching as well and tuning in and asking questions. I think it was a great show with information, but most importantly, I hope you got to meet Santiago and understand that you could reach out to him, ask him any questions. It's not going to be a pitch. It's going to be the real deal information as we all have been waiting for and excited to jump in. So now, hey, I got more questions from Willie. He's taking me seriously here. I love it. I love it. Is the flight time from South America to Airglades less versus from Miami? I think there's
another great question.
There's a great answer here too.
It is amazing that the amount of knowledge William has. So amazing questions. It's actually exactly the same, and not because it's a shorter or a longer, but because our approach is south to north instead of east to west. So the amount of time that the aircraft is taking to do the east to west or west to east approach, it takes the exactly same amount of time to land in a south to north runway. The difference is not there. The difference is when the aircraft lands until it gets to the gate in today's world can be between 5 minutes, best case scenario, to 40 minutes, worst case scenario, because of the congestion in the taxiways. In our case, it takes 3 minutes from the moment it touched down until it's on the gate. And that is no competition whatsoever. It can't compete with any other airport because we don't have passengers flights occupying our taxiways and our runways.
So, sorry, the flight is shorter or longer for one?
It's exactly the same.
And it's actually more affordable, no? Because of the gas. I know there's something there too. There's another benefit, right?
Yeah, the approach make it, because it's a direct approach. You start when you are passing through Cuba, you start the approach south to north and you land directly. So that's one. And then the amount of fuel that you waste on the taxiway, it has a lot of money. I can tell you, it's a lot of money. 45 minutes on a taxiway waiting to get to the gate.
Got it.
From a 3-hour-and-a-half flight, you have 45 minutes of waste fuel.
Wow.
You do the math.
So David's also asked you another question. In the past, the plan was to start with Perishable and then start passengers. Is that still true? Are you looking into passenger or not? It doesn't.
We don't have that on our current vision. We don't have that on the drawings. We don't have that on the master plan. For now, it's an only cargo airport. And instead of growing in passenger flights, we grow on a distribution. That when David was involved, the distribution centers were not part of the main terminal. There were options to build that in the surroundings. Now everything is built up on the same roof. That's the difference, David.
So no passengers.
It's not on the vision.
Not the vision.
It's not on the infrastructure. It's not on the master plan. I'm not going to say that in 200 years there won't be passenger flights. I'm just saying that in today's master plan, we don't have that.
Okay, cool. Hey, man, I'm telling you, Willie, I encourage a Willie Armelini Flowers and Scents and Airglades interview for one, and for two, Willie has another question, which are awesome questions. Are participants able to own space at the airport as originally reported? And I do want to say something. A lot of the questions are based on past information, so that's why we did this show today, to make sure to either squash those past information, past rumors and assumptions, to really get into the nitty gritty of it. So thank you so much, Willie. And Santiago's available for your show, by the way. But go ahead, Santiago. Are participants able to own space at the airport as originally reported?
There's a lot of things you can do and you cannot do at an airport. Okay, this is a private airport, but it's still controlled by FAA. So in order to own land of a U.S. airport, you need clearance from FAA. You need to be away from the airside, but you can do it. I mean, one of our partners, I don't want to say the name out of respect for him, but he has an agreement where he has a right of purchase for land inside the airport, not in the airside zone, because that's for FAA to decide, but within landside, and he has locked a few acres there to buy land, which benefits all of us.
They can rent space in your airport, so they can rent cooler space.
The question is own land.
Yes, no, own a space at the airport. That's good. But now I'm asking, can they rent cooler space? Like,
oh yeah, no, we can do 20, 40, 50-year leases.
Okay, fantastic. And that's the model. So how does the model look? So if a distributor wants to use what's the model and agreement that you're making with them?
We are very flexible because we understand the industry. So we understand the different companies have different operating models, not when it comes to the airport, that the airport dictates whatever they do. In Airglades, because we don't have the rule of that, we created a model that can go from a warehouse, just renting a warehouse, to a 3PL or even a 4PL.
Okay. So
we can be the partner in the whole process, making sure the flowers arrive, get inspection, get sorted out, create purchase orders, and put it into a truck. That's as far as we can go. We are not becoming a freight forwarding company or a transportation company. No, and not in 100 years from now. We don't want to compete with our clients. We respect our business and the business of our clients. So what we can do is offer third-party logistics without being a freight forwarding or without being a transportation company. But there are companies that are so vertically integrated that they will only need a space, and for us only to be there, be a space provider.
Fantastic, man. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I'm happy. I'm happy with the questions. It helped me out a lot. I invite everybody to find out more about Airglades. Even if you don't believe in it, just hear about that. Just tell us when you can meet us, and we will visit you, and you will discover for yourself if it's worth it or not.
And again, be at the Bloom Together event. David, I know you'll be there because our leading sponsors, Flowers and Scents sponsors, Airglades sponsors, or contribute. I like collaborators and contributors. So they support. So be there. I know David might be a little later as usual, but because I think they have some other things to attend. But, be there and please connect. And anybody that's there, reach out to Santiago here at S. Gómez de la Torres at airgladesairport.com, and you could set up a call like, hey, let's have a quick drink while we're there and ask some questions and meet them in person. So thank you again, Santiago, for joining. Thank you for Willie and David for chiming in, and Freddie as well for watching and learning from the floral industry, by the floral industry. So thank you, Santiago. I'll see you. I'll put you in the Bloom room so we can hang out right after this. Okay.
Thank you, Sahid. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show.
Take care. So again, a huge thank you to Santiago for joining, and for everybody that was chiming in and asking questions. Just a quick reminder again, that we are having the Bloom Together at a new venue. It's called Cooper Blues and Rock Bar in City Brickell. So it's pretty awesome, really cool venue, a lot of fun. And we have over 55 sponsors. We've increased the contributions. We're going to increase the donation. So it's super exciting for us because that's really important. And then to talk about a couple shows, and then we have the calendar out there. So if you have any questions, and on March 6th at 7 p.m., it's the Women's Day Roundtable episode where we're going to bring inspiring women. This is not the first time. This is like the 5th time we do it. So join us, chime in, say hi to these amazing women that will be joining us, and do keep an eye out for the shows that we're going to have. And then on March 11th, which is my wife's birthday, so I'm going to get a little bit in trouble for this, but United Selections featuring Joe Postamas, Sandra Spell, and Hugo, the whole team will be joining us to share their show space, like a showroom, as they're going to be showing some flowers and some cool, exciting things as well. So we're really excited to have them on board. And again, don't forget about the Bloom Together. See you there. Thank you to all the amazing sponsors, about 55 sponsors. I can't say them all because I really can't remember them. I wish I could. But thank you to all the sponsors and contributors and collaborators for collaborating, as well as some media collaborators as well. And thank you. We have people from around the world coming just for this event. So it's really stemmed from a little party with 40 people, a little event from 20 people, 30 people, to over 350 people from around the world coming to celebrate the power of networking, collaboration, and building community. So with that, it's a wrap, as I like to say, or it's a bloom. Thank you again for joining, everybody, and thank you for your time. And thank you for everybody that chimed in. And thank you to Airglades for sponsoring this event, this show. And if you want to sponsor, just reach out to Connect and New Bloom Solutions, and we'd love to have you. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
The bloom, showing if they connect and bloom. The bloom, showing if they connect